What's going on, growers? James Prigioni coming to you live from Jersey. I've been gardening for over 8 years now, and throughout that time, I've grown almost every edible that I could possibly grow in my location. So today, I want to share with you 5 crops that I would never plant again. Let's go! I'm excited to make this video for you because I think it will provide a lot of value. I don't want you wasting time like I did, planting things, different edibles and crops that just seem like they weren't worth it over time. I know a lot of you don't have a lot of space, so I want to make sure you're getting the most out of it. Planting things like grapes and stuff here instead of some of the ones I'm going to share. Let's move over to the first crop that I would never plant again. The first crop that I would never plant again are Aronia berries. As you can see, this plant is doing real well. It's got a lot of nice ripe berries on it, but the thing is, I don't even love the flavor of them that much. When it comes down to it, this is actually called the choke berry. And the reason it's called the choke berry, one of the common names, is because the berries are so astringent when you eat them fresh, you can almost kind of like cough and choke on them a little bit. So I know it's growing well, and you can use a lot of these to make jams and great jellies and stuff, and even some wines. But when it comes down to it, if I'm gonna use it to process it to make wine and jams and stuff, I'd rather just grow grapes or raspberries or even elderberries, something that's a good medicinal, tastes better than this, and you can make all those kinds of preservatives with it. So I'll eat one fresh just to show you what it looks like. But another reason I don't like it is because they don't taste great fresh. For me, I like growing things that I can come out, eat them fresh off the plant, because that's the huge benefit of growing things yourself, homegrown and organic. You want to eat them fresh. So when it comes to things you can't eat fresh and you have to process, to me, just doesn't make as much sense. Let me try one though. So pretty sweet. I'm gonna spit the, actually I'll swallow it, yeah. It's pretty sweet, but again, it's got that astringency in it where it dries your mouth out a little bit. Since these are super ripe though, they're not as bad as they could be if they weren't as ripe, but again, not worth it in my opinion. It's so bland. I'd rather plant elderberries or even gooseberries, something different than this. When it comes down to it though, it could be a nice edible landscaping plant because it is in it's in the rose family, so it is a beautiful plant to look at. The second crop that I would never grow again, I'm standing amongst right now, and these are autumn olives. I'm in the chicken pen right now, so it is a little bit messy, but another reason it's messy is because these autumn olives don't get me super motivated to come out here and, check on them. I don't wake up early in the morning and be like, oh no, how are the autumn olives doing? Do we have any fruit ready yet? It's just not like that. So this fruit is actually really good for the chickens and stuff, and this plant is in the Elaeagnus family. So it's gonna grow super fast because it's a nitrogen fixer, and they're great for hedgerows and stuff, just not very great for human eating, in my opinion. But they're beautiful plants, and I like them growing in the chicken pen. You can see how I'm growing a lot of them to more of a tree shape as opposed to a super bushy shape, but they will, again, they'll just grow so fast because they're nitrogen fixers. So if you do want to grow something like this, I don't suggest you grow autumn olives. Instead, I suggest that you grow the Goji Berry. The Goji Berry is cousin to the autumn olive, and it has a lot of the same factors, still in the Elaeagnus family, but a much better taste in my opinion. So these are autumn olives, but do not be fooled. These are not in any relation to your regular olives that you're thinking about. They don't taste anything like it either. Now, we're on the third crop that I would never plant again, and this one is the Armenian cucumber. Before you start hating on me too much, let me just explain myself. And these Armenian cucumbers, they have a nice mild flavor, and this one's way too huge. I was picking them when they were much smaller. They've got a mild flavor, like I said, a decent texture. Tuck likes them a little bit, but the reason that I wouldn't plant these again is because these aren't like a true cucumber. They're like a cucamelon, and there's a different cucamelon that I like planting a lot more than this. I'll put the name right here. I can't even pronounce it. It's like Xylinguro or something, but that cucamelon, in my opinion, it tastes better. It's sweeter, and I just like growing them more. So it's not that this Armenian cucumber is that bad. It's just there's another cucamelon that I'd rather grow. But these ones, you're not supposed to let these Armenian cucumbers get this long, but they do call them the yard long. So this one's a good 3 feet. Look at Tuck, the size compared to him. Imagine he went to town on one of these. This thing would be meals for a week. He said he kind of wants to try it, so let's see. What do you think, boy? He's going for the end. The fourth crop that I would never grow again is one that I've mentioned in the past before, and this one is goji berries. In my opinion, the goji berries, They're terrible. They don't taste good at all. To me, it tastes like a bad tomato. The aftertaste is similar to the tomato. That's because they're in the nightshade family, the same as the tomatoes. So this is a goji berry right here, and one common theme you'll see with a lot of the plants I'm talking about is I'm kind of neglecting them, and that's kind of one of the ways that it showed me that I don't like these plants that much, you know? And the goji berry, it seems to be like a little finicky sometimes. Some years it fruits, some years it doesn't, and it's sprawling and a little bit almost invasive. So overall, it's a super annoying plant to deal with, in my opinion, with very little give back. A lot of people like eating the dried fruit because they say when the fruit dries it tastes a lot better, but that goes back kind of to what I was saying about the Aronias, where what's the point of, you know, growing something homegrown, fresh, organic, and then having to dry and wait for it? The whole idea with homegrown, organic, fresh, natural is you get to go out there, in my opinion, and eat it right off the plant. So this isn't one of those plants that I like doing that for. I'd rather plant something different, like the ground cherries, kind of similar, but those are only an annual too, and you can get the fruit this year. They taste way better. Let me bring you over to a few of the Aunt Molly's ground cherries. So sweet, a little bit of a weird aftertaste, but so much better than your goji berry. So right here is the ground cherry, and it's loaded. It's got so many cherries on it. It started just one plant in here. Around, you'll see all the cherries that have fallen to the ground. That's when you want to eat them, after they've fallen like that. So we'll open this up. They come in these little cases. Nice little Aunt Molly's ground cherry. And the difference between this and the goji berry is the flavor. It's way different in my opinion. These are so much sweeter. Again, not in the same family or anything, but I see them as kind of similar, and this is what I'd rather grow instead. 9 times out of 10. No, 10 times out of 10. Such a good little sweet, subtle flavor to start. A nice texture to it too, not big seeds, and then not a really bad aftertaste after. So just, in my opinion, don't waste your time with the goji berries unless you have a really lot of space. Before I move over to the 5th crop, I just wanted to grab Tuck a carrot because he looks mighty hungry, and it wouldn't be a classic James Prigioni video without Tuck eating something. What do we got in here, boy? Got some big carrots in here, boy. Let him try to get his own out. Go ahead, boy. What do you see? Let's see if he can rip it out. Last time he had a tough time because they're so big. You got it, boy. Keep going at it. Go ahead, Duck. You'll notice we've got some marigolds all planted around here too. Let's see if you can get it. It's a deep one. He finds it fun though too, so it's like a game for him trying to get at these. I knew this one was gonna be big, so that's why I wanted to have him try to grab it. See if he can pull him out himself. Come on, boy, you can harvest yourself. So this guy, he does security, he takes care of the garden. He's like our form of living fence. And then he also plants some of his own stuff, like you guys saw the cucumbers. And he can harvest his own stuff sometimes, but this one just got a little big for him. There, you loosen it up for him. There you go, boy. He's going to the next one. Go for this one, boy. There you go. Not the hugest carrot, a pretty small one, but a nice one. Nice shape, as you see. He's gonna rip off some of the top, it looks like, first, before he starts to go to town on the bottom. There he goes. He usually bites the tip off at the end. Sometimes he'll snack on it and then just get rid of the rest because he knows this part doesn't taste good. So he just trims that off himself first and then goes to town on the carrots. These ones are good, and we love giving him carrots for lunch too because they help to clean his teeth. I think it's almost like a natural toothbrush. So we give him carrots and celery and cucumbers and all different kind of veggies. This guy was born and raised in the garden basically, helped plant everything in here, so he loves being a part of it. This is what we live for, to be able to eat the stuff that we grow and share it with a sweet little guy like Tuck. Throw hearts in the comment and hit that like button if you love seeing Tuck in the videos. The 5th crop that I would never grow again is definitely one that's opinionated, and it's in the brassica family. This crop is Kohlrabi. I've grown kohlrabi in the past, and to me it looks like it's from another planet or something, like some kind of alien food. And I've grown it, like I mentioned, and I didn't really end up doing anything with it, unlike cabbage. So I love growing cabbage and kale so much. Those are alternatives, and I know some people say that the kohlrabi can be really sweet, especially when it gets later into the season. But I think that's pretty similar with cabbage too. Well, I know it's similar. All the brassicas get sweeter as it gets a little colder out. Same thing with carrots too. So in my opinion, again, I'd rather grow cabbage or I'd rather grow kale. When it comes down to it, I use all the cabbage that I grow because when I love doing fresh cabbage salads, I replace it. Instead of using lettuce, I just use the fresh cabbage. And also I like making sauerkraut and stuff. I know the sauerkraut is a processed one, but again, it goes back to the fact of being able to use this stuff stuff fresh and not having to put too much work into it. Because my favorite part about organic gardening is eating things fresh right from the garden. That's the way it should be. You may notice some of the plants that I mentioned here that I will never grow again, they weren't actually like whole kinds of plants, but just varieties. For instance, that cucumber. That's just one variety that I won't grow again, but that doesn't mean I'm not gonna grow cucumbers again. In fact, there are certain varieties of cucumbers that I will make sure I grow every year. Because when it comes down to it, that's one of our greatest assets as gardeners, to be able to select a variety that works good for our particular location. So make sure you get outside your comfort zone a little bit and use that variety selection tool to your advantage. Because think about that. Imagine there was only one type of cucumber that we could plant. It'd be so sad. It'd be so boring. Make sure you go out of your comfort zone again and try some different stuff. Before I let you go, I just wanted to show you a couple plants that I am growing that kind of pushes the boundaries a little bit. Right here is a fig, and we're growing these in Jersey. As a lot of you may know, we have to wrap these during the winter when it gets super cold. But even though we have to wrap it, it takes a little extra work. In my opinion, it's one of those plants that's worth it because the figs taste so good when they're fresh. It's easy to propagate, and it's a great plant to grow in pots too. So I have a number of figs planted in pots that are excelling also, doing real well. And then also next to it, I want to show you something else. So this is kind of like similar to the Aronia in a way, because this is the Rosa Rugosa. And I don't believe it's actually a true rose, but this is one of those permaculture edible landscaping plants because it's a beautiful rose, yes, but it produces very large rose hips that are actually good for eating. So it's not something that I would grow just for food, but again, it's a nice edible landscape plant that you could put into the ground. I wouldn't grow it again mainly as a food crop, but I would just grow it as something that you can mix into your landscape. Maybe if you live in an area that they don't like you planting a lot of fresh vegetables in the front yard, this would be a great one to plant in the front yard. People wouldn't even know it's food. That's today's video, growers. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you take the plants I named into consideration, and you maybe take a second thought before you go out, you buy them, and you put them into the ground, and then especially some of those perennials, you find out a couple years later that it was a waste of time. So that's what I'm trying to save you guys. Some time, some effort, and maybe a little bit of cash too. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share with your friends. Don't forget to check out the merch down low. And remember, whenever you're going to shop on Amazon, start your shopping with our Amazon affiliate link. I've got a link right in the description, so just hit that one. So me and Tuck will be back to you again with another one real soon. We